When we come across persons or people, anybody, the person snaps, gets angry easily. Now, that person could be passing through a lot. At what point do we say that person has bipolar or has a mental health condition? I need you to break it down.
Well, yeah, so I would say that everybody is different and everybody's
Okay.
mental health condition presents differently. So if people have bipolar disorder, some people just have very, aggressive personalities, or some individuals just have challenges when it comes to how they relate with others and things like that. So there's actually tests according to things like the Diagnostic Statistical Manual. The DSM-5 is lately what we use, and there's a list of conditions for things like bipolar, depression, and anxiety. If or individuals meet these certain conditions, then they could be said to have one of these mental health conditions. But it's important to know that everybody presents a little bit differently when it
Okay.
comes to these mental health conditions. So it's not something that we could stigmatize and say, just because a person is lashing out or things like that, that means that they have a mental health condition. What's important to understand is that if you see somebody who has a challenge and it's different than what you expect, or how they've been, ask on them, check on them to see what the issues are. And then it's important to get professional advice. I would recommend going to see a psychiatrist or psychologist and having them do a proper diagnosis to see, do they have the meet the criteria to have a mental health condition, or are they just having a bad day?
Okay. Aside just having a bad day, are there other factors that affect the mental health of an individual? For example, some women are going through a lot in their marriages. Some are having issues with parenting. Some are having issues with their finances. What other factors could be responsible?
Yes. So there's a lot of factors that impact individuals having mental health condition. I would say that it could be things like socioeconomic factors. People experience joblessness. People experience poverty. Those things impact people's mental health. Issues of loneliness, issues of not feeling like they are man. Not man you be. If you don't have if you don't have a access to the resources that you need to support your mental health condition. So there's important socioeconomic conditions that you mentioned. You mentioned women. There's gendered issues that face people, whether it's postpartum depression, and there's even emerging research that even men face things like postpartum depression. There's issues of gender when it comes to the workplace, or social cultural conditions, and people being restrained also can impact people's mental health conditions. There's issues like climate change. There's emerging research about how there's things called climate anxiety and eco crisis, where because of conflict security, or there's emerging research about how heat actually impacts individuals' mental health conditions. So psychosocial social forces certainly affect people's mental health, but there's other dispositions as well. Um, there's definitely certain other dispositions. For instance, there's more research now about how Africans are facing loneliness more than their European counterparts. For African, according to the World Health Organization, it's around 12.5%. And according to the European West, they're facing loneliness at rates of 5%. So people think that it's something that's just, a white man's, or it's something that's in the West. People face mental health conditions, but we have a growing suicide epidemic here in the African continent. The World Health Organization actually says that the African region faces the highest suicide rates in the world. So it's a problem that impacts us, that we don't, and we stigmatize it, unfortunately. Even though we see it on people, we stigmatize it. There's a study from Epi Africa and the Africa Polling Institute in 2020, and it said that the number one thing that Nigerians believe when they think of a mental health condition is they think about somebody running around naked.
Hmm.
I'll say that again. 70% believe that a mental health condition or disease is someone running around naked. So we have a portrayal of what mental health conditions are, which is not accurate, unfortunately. And so it prevents people from getting the help and getting the support that they really need. So there's a variety of factors. It could be biological, it could be genetic, it could be social, cultural. But the important thing is that individuals who are facing these mental health conditions go and admit that it's okay to not be okay. and then engage in the help-seeking behavior that gets them the support that they need in order to help their psychological well-being.
Okay, I think I like your statement. It's okay not to be okay. It's actually a phase and then it will pass. Now, let's talk about depression amongst the youth. This is a growing concern needing attention. What's your take?
There is a youth challenge in terms of where people feel like they should be and where they actually are that is impacting their mental health conditions. But also, we see things like social media. Technology is a bit impact. It's a twofold impact. It is with things like social media, with people growing on phones, people have less friends than they had before because they're turning to things like AI or they're scrolling through what they see on the screen about where they should be and they shouldn't. So unfortunately, social media is having an impact. We see the increasing loneliness that I described a little bit earlier, and young people really want the resources and tools